All right, first level. Ancestral longevity. You've accumulated... Okay, so you have to be at least 100 years old, which, to be fair, I can do that if I want to. You've accumulated a vast array of lived knowledge over the years. During your daily preparations, you can reflect upon your life experiences to gain the trained proficiency rank in one skill of your choice. So you can get trained proficiency in a skill, which is cool, but since it's temporary, you can't use it as a prerequisite. Okay. So this is pretty much just like a +2 to a skill. I think trained is the first level, right? If I'm recalling that correctly. Yeah, trained, experts, master, legendary, I think it is. I seem to recall. So yeah, I think trained is just the first, which does mean that if I'm yeah, if I'm like trained in it, I get both my level and my proficiency bonus, which at the moment is just 3. Yeah. Because I don't actually get to add my level as long as I'm not proficient, right? I remember that. I remember. Sorry. Elven lore. You've studied in traditional elven arts, learning about arcane magic in the world around you. You gain the trained proficiency rank in arcana and nature. If you would automatically become trained in one of those skills, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. You also become trained in elven lore. Okay. So I would get 3 proficiencies from this pretty much. 2 of which are arcane in nature, which, to be fair, would work really nicely with the circumstance bonus here as well. Although, to be fair, that's only if I identify magic and decipher writing. So don't, like, pretty much the advantage here is, like, these are just, you always have arcana in nature. Here, if you know that you're going to be doing a stealth mission, you pick up stealth. If you know that you're going to be crafting shit, you pick up crafting. If you know you're going to be picking something up, you're pretty much going to be picking up whatever you want, I assume. So yeah, okay. Then elven weapon. Favor bows and other elegant weapons. You are trained with longbows, composite longbows, longswords, rapiers, shortbows, and composite shortbows. Gain access to all uncommon elf weapons. For the purpose of determining your proficiency, martial elf weapons are simple weapons, and advanced elf weapons are martial weapons. Okay, so what I would need to know before I pick this up is I kind of need to know my wizard cantrips a little bit, right? And the reason I'm saying that, let me explain. The reason I'm saying that is because let's say that I can just use my cantrips to deal consistent damage, then I don't need a longbow at all, right? Then I don't care about having a longbow. If I can't deal consistent damage with cantrips, then I might want a longbow instead. So, for example, Acid Splash is a cantrip. You deal 1d6 acid damage. Wait, you deal 1d6 acid damage plus 1 splash acid damage. The target also takes 1 persistent acid damage on a critical success. And then it becomes 1d6 a third, or 1d6 plus your spellcasting ability modifier, 2d6 plus 3d6 plus 4d6 plus. So, okay. So you would be dealing decent damage. The question is, am I really ever going to use that? Because I'm starting to think maybe you don't necessarily, I think, want that, right? Cantrip is heightened to a spell level equal to half your level rounded up. So I will only be able to do my 3rd level version of that once I get to 5th level, right? Which is why the cantrips only say up to 9th level. So the question at that point becomes, is it worth it to pick up Elven Weapon Familiarity? Right? Forlorn. Watching your friends age and die fills you with moroseness. Get a +1 circumstance bonus to saving throws against emotion effects. If you roll a success on a saving throw against an emotion effect, you get a critical success instead. This seems very limited, to be perfectly honest. Like, no offense. Seems very limited. Nimble Elf, muscles are tightly honed, your speed increased by 5 feet. I do think on a wizard this might not be bad just to run the fuck away. So otherworldly magic, you choose a cantrip and learn it. Is an arcane innate spell at will. Does it say, like, does it say, out of sheer curiosity, like, what my spellcasting modifier for that is? How do you attack with a cantrip? I actually legitimately do not know. I don't know how spells work. Shit. Actually legitimately don't know how spells work anymore. I didn't play with spells. Oh, here. Cast a spell. Just quickly checking. Doesn't immediately say it doesn't. I'm assuming it'll use intelligence, but I don't know. I'm kind of torn between like weapon familiarity and longevity, to be perfectly honest. Because this would let me use weapons like a longbow or something if I don't want to use cantrips. So maybe it's interesting to just have a look at that. Like, is it worth it? Yeah, 446. Attack rolls. When you use a strike action or another attack action, Dex modifier for a finesse weapon for a ranged attack roll. Oh, right. You know what I just realized? I think that's the big difference. I think if you cast spells, you might be able to make a spell attack roll. The ability modifier for on how you gain access. If your class grants your spellcasting, use your key ability modifier. Innate spells use your charisma modifier unless the ability that granted them states otherwise. Huh. So, technically, if I take a cantrip here, I'd be using charisma. So isn't that a bad... So then that's a bad idea. Because I'm not going to be putting anything into charisma. So... Because my bonuses were Dex and Intelligence. So I'm probably going to be putting some points into Dex for AC. Probably going to be putting points into Intelligence. So... what that very likely means is that either I force myself to take a bunch of points into Dex, mostly because I would then be able to pick up Elven Weapon Familiarity, which, you know, would then allow me to make attacks with a bow. Does it say anything about like damage? Okay, so because what I'm thinking right now is I kind of want to go to equipments and see if a bow is ever worth it in this game. Because I know that like I play a sorcerer and kingmaker, and there it was worth it to just have like a crossbow because your cantrips do like a D3 damage, which is absolutely the only reason I used like acid splash on it was because of trolls. Because trolls couldn't die unless they took acid damage. So that's like the one thing. Like let's say that I want to pick up here a ranged weapon. Let's say longbow, just because why the hell not? Composite longbow would deal 1d8 piercing, which would have deadly. So on a critical hit, the weapon die adds a damage die of the listed size. Okay, so that deals a lot of fucking damage. Propulsive. What's propulsive? Propulsive, you add half your strength modifier to damage rolls. Wow. So I would have to put points into strength if I want to go composite longbow. And volley, what's volley? Less effective at long distance. Okay, so that's like a sniper fucking bow. Okay, good to know. I was actually kind of curious. But to be fair, a normal longbow has the same problem. All right. I think just for flair, I definitely think this is an option, but I think because I don't necessarily want to put everything into Dex, because I think I'd be forced to at that point. Because I'm also going to be spending a decent amount of my time, I'm assuming, casting spells. I think I'm not going to pick up Familiarity. I think I'm not going to pick up Forlorn because it feels too limited. Nimble Elf, I don't like. Otherworldly apparently would force me to use my Charisma, and then I never read Unwavering Mien. Your mystic control and meditations allow you to resist external influences upon your consciousness. If you were affected by a mental effect, it lasts at least 2 rounds. Reduce the duration by 1 round. You still require natural sleep, but you treat your saving throws against effects that will cause you to fall asleep as 1 degree of success better. Okay, so this also feels limited. I think these are like good abilities to have. But I think from kind of being just like the smart guy in the group, I think I'm gonna pick Elven Lore here because I like it as a feature. So we're gonna be picking Elven Lore as our level 1 Ancestry feat, which means we get trained proficiency in Arcana and Nature. And if you would automatically become trained in one of those skills, you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. So if we would pick up Arcana or Nature, we'll pick other ones, and you instead become trained in a skill of your choice. And you also become trained in Elven Lore. So we are going to tick Arcana and Nature. And we are going to note down Elven Lore. That's a good start, I think, right? All right, cool. And then I think low light vision is the one that we note down in the special over here. There you go. Cool. That was cool. All right. Good start.